Stoic thought control. Ever find yourself trapped in the dead of night, staring at the ceiling while your mind decides to become a movie theater? The feature film is that awkward conversation from 3 days ago. You're the star, the director, and the harshest critic all at once. The dialogue plays on a relentless loop. You hear your own words, cringing at the inflection. You see their facial expression, reinterpreting it for the 100th time. And then comes the endless reel of alternate endings. I should have said this. Why didn't I think of that? If only I had been quicker, wittier, stronger. This mental echo chamber, this obsessive replaying of past events, is more than just a minor annoyance. It's a thief. It steals your peace, drains your energy, and robs you of the present moment. It's a form of self-inflicted psychological torment, and it's exhausting. You're fighting a battle that's already over, against an opponent who has long since left the field. A phantom version of your past self. This cycle of rumination is a deeply human experience, but that doesn't mean it's a life sentence. The great Stoic emperor, Marcus Aurelius, a man who commanded legions and ruled an empire, faced the same internal battles we do. In the quiet of his tent during military campaigns, he wrote his private journal, a book we now know as Meditations. It wasn't written for us. It was a guide for himself, a series of exercises to fortify his own mind against the chaos of the world and the chatter within. And within these ancient pages lies a profound and practical solution to our modern problem of overthinking. He gives us the blueprint for what we can call the Thought Gatekeeper. This isn't a mystical concept. It's a powerful, conscious practice of mental self-discipline. It's the art of standing guard at the entrance to your own mind and deciding what is allowed to enter and what must be turned away. Aurelius understood that the mind is like a citadel, a fortress. He wrote, "Your mind will take the shape of what you frequently hold in thought, for the human spirit is colored by such impressions." Think about that. Your spirit is by your thoughts. If your thoughts are a constant storm of regret, anxiety, and self-criticism, your inner world will be a bleak and turbulent landscape. But if you can control what impressions you allow to take root, you can cultivate an inner world of tranquility and strength. The gatekeeper's primary duty is to inspect every thought that arrives at the gates. It doesn't try to fight every enemy outside the walls. That would be a waste of energy. Instead, it calmly examines their credentials. When that replayed conversation comes knocking, the gatekeeper doesn't panic. It simply asks a series of questions. Are you useful? Are you true? Are you within my control? Do you serve my virtue and my peace? More often than not, the obsessive looping thought has no good answers. It's a ghost, a vapor, and when exposed to the light of rational inquiry, it dissipates. The core principle that empowers this gatekeeper is the foundational pillar of all Stoic practice, the dichotomy of control. This idea, most famously articulated by the Stoic philosopher Epictetus, but practiced diligently by Aurelius, is deceptively simple but life-altering in its application. It states that some things in life are within our control and some things are not. What's in our control? Our thoughts, our judgments, our choices, our reactions, our inner world. What's not in our control? Everything else. The weather, the economy, traffic, and, crucially, the words, actions, and opinions of other people. When we replay a conversation, we are desperately trying to seize control over the uncontrollable. We can't change what someone else said. We can't go back in time and change what we said. We can't control how they interpreted our words or what they think of us now. Trying to alter the past is like trying to command the tides. It's a futile and exhausting struggle against reality. The pain of replaying conversations comes from this fundamental misunderstanding. We chain ourselves to the past because we mistakenly believe that by thinking about it hard enough, we can somehow fix it or gain a sense of control over it. The Stoic gatekeeper frees us from this illusion. It forces us to confront the reality of the situation. The thought arrives, "I can't believe I said that stupid thing to my boss." The gatekeeper stops it and asks, "Is the fact that you already said this in your control?" The answer is a clear and undeniable no. It is in the past. It is an external fact. So what is in your control? The gatekeeper continues. My judgment about it, my decision to learn from it if there's a lesson, my choice not to let this past event poison my present peace. This is the moment of liberation. This is where you reclaim your power. It's not about pretending the event didn't happen or suppressing the feeling of embarrassment. It's about consciously refusing to give assent or agreement to the toxic, unhelpful thought that you keep punishing yourself for it. You observe the thought, acknowledge the past event, and then calmly deny entry to the cycle of rumination that wants to follow. You are guarding the gates, choosing to protect the tranquility of your inner citadel. This block has laid the groundwork, identifying the enemy, the mental replay, and introducing our guardian, the Stoic thought gatekeeper. Now we will move from the what and the why to the how. We will forge the keys to this gate and learn the precise, actionable steps to put this ancient wisdom into practice instantly.
Forging the Gatekeeper, the Stoic Toolkit. We've established the fortress of our mind and the need for a vigilant gatekeeper. Now, let's equip that guardian with the tools and training required to do its job effectively. This isn't about abstract philosophy. It's about a practical, step-by-step mental drill you can run anytime, anywhere, the moment you catch yourself falling into the rabbit hole of a replayed conversation. The entire system hinges on two foundational Stoic practices we've touched upon: the dichotomy of control and the discipline of assent. Mastering these is like giving your gatekeeper a hardened shield and a sharpened spear. First, let's dive deeper into the shield, the dichotomy of control. When a memory of a conversation surfaces and begins its loop, the first step is to pause and dissect it with surgical precision. Imagine laying the entire interaction out on a table. On one side, place everything that was truly within your control. On the other, place everything that was not. What's on the not in my control side? The other person's mood that day, their preconceived notions about you, the unexpected interruption that threw you off, the exact words they chose to use, their tone of voice, their facial expression, whether they were truly listening or just waiting for their turn to speak, their ultimate opinion of you. All of these are external factors, as unpredictable and ungovernable as the wind. To waste a single moment of your present energy trying to retroactively manage or change these things is the very definition of insanity. Now, look at the in my control side. What's there? Your intention going into the conversation, the effort you made to be clear and respectful, the values you tried to uphold, and most importantly, your reaction and judgment in this present moment. This is your sphere of influence. The past event is over, but your story you tell yourself about it is happening now. This is where you have absolute power. By clearly separating these two categories, you drain the looping thought of its venom. The anxiety and regret are almost always tied to the things you couldn't control. Once the shield of dichotomy has clarified the situation, it's time to wield the spear, the discipline of assent. The Stoics believed that it's not events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments or assent to impressions about them. An impression is the raw data that comes in, the thought, the memory. For instance, the memory pops up. I stumbled over my words during the presentation. That's the initial impression. It is neutral. It is just data. The suffering begins with the next step, when you give assent to a whole cascade of negative judgments. I and therefore everyone thinks I'm an idiot. I ruined my reputation. I'll never be respected. You have just exonerated a destructive narrative. The gatekeeper's job is to interrupt this process. It stops the initial impression and holds it for inspection before you automatically give your assent. You catch the thought, "I stumbled over my words," and you hold it. You don't immediately agree with the story of failure that's attached to it. Instead, you challenge it. You say, "Okay, I stumbled over my words. That is a fact. It is in the past. Is the judgment that everyone thinks I'm an idiot also a fact? Or is it a story? Is it within my control what they think?" The answer is no. So you refuse to give assent to that story. You can choose a more virtuous and rational assent. "I stumbled over my words. I can use this as a reminder to practice more next time. My worth is not defined by a single moment of imperfection." Let's put this all together into a simple 4-step emergency protocol for killing a mental replay. Step 1. Recognize. The first and most crucial step is awareness. You have to catch yourself in the act. The moment you feel that familiar churn of anxiety and realize you're watching that same mental movie again, you've won half the battle. Simply say to yourself internally, "Ah, there it is, the replay." Step 2. Pause and isolate. Don't fight the thought. Don't try to violently push it away. That's like wrestling with a ghost. It only gives it more substance. Instead, just pause. Take one deep breath. Create a tiny pocket of space between the stimulus and your response. In this space, you isolate the core impression from the emotional baggage. Step 3. Interrogate. This is where you use your tools. Apply the dichotomy of control. Ask the gatekeeper's questions. Is this thought about something I can control right now? No. Is this thought useful? Is it helping me become a better person? No. Is it true that this single event defines me? Absolutely not. You are cross-examining the thought, exposing it as an imposter that has no legitimate business in your mind. Step 4. The verdict. Refuse assent. This is the final decisive action. Having interrogated the thought and found it wanting, you consciously choose not to agree with it. You don't have to replace it with a hyper-positive affirmation. You simply let it go. You can visualize the gate closing and the thought being left outside. You can say to yourself, "This impression is not what it appears to be. I will not assent." Then you deliberately redirect your focus to the present moment. What can you see? What can you hear? What is one small, useful thing you can do right now? This practice, done consistently, is transformative.
At first, it might feel clunky, and the thoughts will be persistent. But with every repetition, your gatekeeper gets stronger. You are rewiring your brain, carving new neural pathways of peace instead of the old, worn-out grooves of anxiety. You are not a passive victim of your thoughts. You are the ruler of your inner kingdom. By forging your gatekeeper, you take back the throne. Start today. The next time a conversation replays, don't just endure it. Stop, interrogate it, and choose to protect your peace. That is the way of the Stoic.